straight into our Mariners here, as we don't really have any Seahawks stuff to go over. They continue to go through OTAs, and that's sort of in mandatory minicamp. So that's where they're at looking ahead schedule wise. Mandatory minicamp, the next that starts tomorrow, June 6th through 8th. And then there's some OTA offseason workouts June 12th through 14th. We move over here to our Mariners, and man, yeah, it has been rough for our Mariners as of recently, losing 5 of their last 6. And we'll get into it here. They wrapped up their 10-game homestand with a 2-1 series loss to the New York Yankees. The Bronx Bombers absolutely beat down the Mariners here through the first 2 games. May 29th versus the Yankees, a 4-10 win. Our player of the game and photo of the game here by Liv Lyons. Center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Julio, 2 hits, 1 run, 3 RBIs, and a solo homer on the day with the trident there after he had been pelted severely by sunflower seeds. We go over here back May 30th versus the Yankees, a 2-10 loss. Our player of the game, first baseman Ty France, the Frenchman, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 RBI. This was a tough one. Tom Murphy was ejected from the game, and then in this photo here, a photo of the game by Brian Saldana captured Scott Service getting thrown out of the game. Just an overall frustrating game. When we go over here to the last game of the series, May 31st versus the Yankees, a 1-0 win. So the Mariners were able to come back in that one, bounce back, salvage a game, avoid being swept by the Yankees. And win 1-0 on a walk-off by Cal Raleigh, which is our photo of the game here by photographer Mathew Bermudez. Matthew caught that one. George Kirby caught the victory in that one. 8 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, no earned runs, no walks, and 7 strikeouts for Kirby on the day to give the Mariners the win. Kirby is just such an incredible young pitcher. But in keeping with that, before I get to the Rangers series here, which it's not like I'm going to miss anything by going to talk about this Yankee series, as I straighten this out. Yeah, man. I mean, it was tough with this Yankee series, and I had a bunch of people go, oh, they really hammered Gilbert and Miller. And yes, Logan Gilbert and Bryce Miller are heavy fastball throwing pitchers. The Yankees hit the fastball really well, and they hit it well with power. They're a lineup that's got a lot of power, even though they're missing some notable guys like Giancarlo Stanton. A guy like Aaron Judge is going to swat the hell out of a fastball. I got asked about the Yankees tipping pitches, and I have nothing to say about that until there's something that's substantial about it, until something comes out about it. But that's exactly it. Bryce Miller is a heavy fastball thrower right now, and it's worked for him throughout, all but the last 2 outings that he's, now 3 with this Rangers one. All of the last, those first few outings were really great, and he was able to work on that fastball, but everybody knew he needed to add the off speed and continue to work on his off speed pitches. The Yankees knew that. They exploited that. They chased him out of the game. Logan Gilbert wasn't so reliant on his fastball in this game, but they were still, they were still able to get after Logan in that outing and chase him out of the game. So those are 2 guys who are young pitchers who, obviously Miller younger than Gilbert, who have a ton of room to improve and can certainly, continue to be good in this league, but they have to continue to develop that off speed. Right? George Kirby came into this game, a guy who, we know loads the strike zone. And he had an amazing game. 8 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed. George Kirby continues to look like a top of the rotation kind of guy for the Mariners. And with a couple injuries that are stacking up right now, he probably will have to be that sort of guy. So that's what I'll say on that. We'll go over here to the Rangers series, and it's not like there's much to say about the Rangers series. I mean, this was an ugly series. It's hard to say much positive. June 2nd to begin that road trip. It's an 8-game road trip. The Mariners would lose that one 0-2. Luis Castillo pitched an otherwise quality game, but he just couldn't get any run support. Again, how often have you heard me say the starting pitcher has a great outing and then he couldn't get any run support? I don't have any fun in saying it. I'm just telling you what happened. Let me check in here. Well, John Gray across the way from him pitched a great game as well, but the Mariners offense needs to be able to muster more than 3 hits in general. Castillo, 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run allowed. It's earned 1 walk and 6 strikeouts. I mean, 1 run against will do it. Will all absolutely do it, let alone only the 5 hits, and the Mariners couldn't put anything together. Then Instagram reels, the wheels really fell off. June 3rd at the Rangers, a 6-16 loss. Our play of the game first baseman Ty France, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 RBI. And then to close out the series and get swept, the Mariners would lose that one June 4th at the Rangers 3-12. Our player of the game right fielder Teoscar Hernandez Teo, 2 hits, 1 run, and 1 walk on the day. Not a bad day. But yeah, it's we need to have a talk about the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners aren't in a really good situation right now, and normally this is where we go to the player of the game section. We don't have a player of the game because this past 6 games have been horrible, an exception to George Kirby's game and Luis Castillo's game. It's been bad. We've had this issue, we've had this talk before. We had it in the offseason, we had it last offseason. The Mariners did not do enough in the offseason to improve their offense. There are guys slumping right now, sure, and I'm sure they'll break out of it. Julio Rodriguez is turning a corner. Ty France is playing well. JB Crawford's played well. Jared Kelenic still at the 270 mark. Teo's finding some groove, but you've got some guys who just really are struggling. Tom Murphy had an okay month of May. Cal Raleigh had been having a strong month of May. The second base spot is kind of a black hole at the moment. Jose Caballero, after really lighting it up to begin things, is kind of struggling. Colton Wong, I really want to support Colton. I really do. Has struggled on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. Gino is a 210 batting average, not good. And the bench players, I mean, Haggerty's been fine, but not great. Mike Ford was finally called up, and we'll get to that here when we get to team-related notes. But, excuse me, Mike Ford was never the answer at the designated hitter, despite how many people clamored for him to get called up and thinking that he was essentially the Messiah. AJ Pollock is fine. Tommy Lastello was a joke of an addition. Cooper Hummel is probably going to hang around in AAA. So it's like you really did not do enough in the offseason, and everybody knew that. Everybody knew that. It was thought that this team was only 1 bat away from being a division contender, contender for the top of the division. And it now appears that you need more than just the 1 bat. You've got Robbie Ray out for the year. Marco Gonzalez is injured. We'll get to that in a second. It doesn't look great for the Seattle Mariners right now. Any hopes of them winning the division seem to be dashed after the way that the Rangers pummeled them and the way that the Rangers have been playing outside of when they play the Mariners. Bruce Bochy and this really talented lineup that they have in terms of the offensive and pitching sides of the ball has things clicking right now. How long that lasts, I don't know. But, when they've got a manager like Bochy, who is a proven winner, that was a scary move, to be honest with you. So it's a hard time right now for the Seattle Mariners. They're got 5 games left on this road trip. So, there's some opportunity to start finding some things. They're not necessarily too far out of the running yet. They're not Oakland. But you really would have to hit some strides and start to beat these good teams. It's why the sweeps of the Athletics were great, but they were necessary. They were basically bare minimum. It was like, I needed you to do this anyway. And when you barely beat the Athletics twice in that last 4-game set that you played them, it was a little scary. It was a little scary because it was like, why are we having to hold on late in a 1-run game against this Oakland Athletics team that's already made a fool of themselves multiple times in this game, right? So, the Mariners continue to waste excellent pitching performances. They just don't look ready. And it's not like there's anybody in AAA that you can call up and be the savior. There really is no answer for that. You've got 4 of the top 5 guys who have struck out the most in baseball are Seattle Mariners. It's not looking great. And I know there have been clamors for the hitting coach to be fired. I know there have been talks from some folks who know baseball well who think that's a foolish idea. But something's going to happen soon. It's really not looking good. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle right now. We're not at the halfway mark of the year yet. We're not at the All-Star break. The Mariners will still have to add Penn Murphy and Andres Munoz back um, from injury, but it's been a real struggle. It has been a real struggle. We'll continue here with injury-related news. On the 30th, relief pitcher Andres Munoz began his rehab assignment with AAA Tacoma. On June 2nd, left-handed pitcher Marco Gonzalez was dealing with a forearm injury and was placed on the 15-day injured list. He felt discomfort in his last outing and still didn't feel great on a bullpen that he threw after that outing. So that's where Marco is, and that's what's going on with him. June 3rd, shortstop JP Crawford banged knees at second base and missed the following game on the 4th. He should be good to go Tuesday against the Padres, but there wasn't a clear guarantee. Yesterday, June 4th, Penn Murphy began his rehab assignment with the Tacoma Rainiers. Looking at maybe seeing Mooney join the team on Tuesday or Wednesday, and expecting Murphy to join the team on the weekend. So we continue here with team-related news on the 30th. As I mentioned, I didn't mention that. I said he was turning a corner. Center fielder Julio Rodriguez was named the AL Player of the Week. The 22-year-old batted a .467 batting average with 6 runs, 4 doubles, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 1 hit by pitch, and 1 stolen base, while reaching base at a 44 clip and slugging 800 for a 1.284 OPS during the week. That's insane. So it's nice to see Julio. At the time when that was announced, he had an 8-game hitting streak. That would come to an end, I believe, the next game. It would be the second time he's earned that honor, last doing so June 27th through July 3rd last year. So good to see that for Julio. I mean, especially, seeing him get going. And I talked about it, I believe, last week. After that Oakland series, I said this is what you kind of need to see him get going, is seeing a week like this where he really just starts to click. Also on the day, there were 2 roster moves. Right-handed pitcher Darren McCacken was recalled from AAA Tacoma. As a resulting move, Juan Ten was sent down to AAA Tacoma. We've got some shifting here the last few days. On the 31st, relief pitcher Matt Fester was recalled from the Rainiers, while Darren McCacken was sent down to the Rainiers. On the 1st, infielder Mike Ford was recalled from Tacoma, and outfielder Taylor Trammell was optioned to Tacoma. On the 2nd, as a resulting move to Marco's injury, Brian Wu was called up from AA Arkansas and failed to get out of the first 2 innings. It's a tough situation to put Brian Wu in, especially considering who it was against, with the Rangers and having one of, if not the best offense in all of baseball. I think he'll be fine. I really think he'll be fine. To put him in there, though, in his major league debut against the Rangers, though, this current Rangers team, it's a hard ask. It's a hard ask. So the Mariners sit at a 29-30 record. They are 4th in the American League West right now. They had been 3rd for the past week, but that changed. Oops. This is wrong. This is wrong. Let me see. Hmm. Well, I don't have the first 2 games against the Padres here for you. They'll play June 6th and 7th at the Padres. The 6th is a 6:40 first pitch, and the 7th is a 1:10 first pitch. Then they go down to play the Angels, who are still hanging around the 500 mark. June 9th through 11th through 9th is a 6:38 p.m. first pitch. June 10th is a 7:07 p.m. first pitch, and then June 11th is a 1:07 p.m. first pitch, as the Mariners will play 2 California teams and will look to find some sort of traction after really sliding hard this past week when they played the Yankees and the Rangers. We will now move over here to our Seattle Storm, who